Welcome to The Debate. Today we are diving into a topic that has just fundamentally reshaped the social landscape for billions of people, dating apps. For so many, this technology is the primary, maybe even the only way they meet potential partners. But the question we're looking at isn't really if they work, it's how they work. Does the inherent structure of online dating, with its algorithms and its mechanisms of choice, does it actively undermine a person's ability to build and sustain a truly long-term, meaningful partnership? I'll be arguing the affirmative position, that the structural incentives of these platforms inherently erode the mindset and the skills that are required for deep, lasting commitment.
And I'm going to come at this from, a completely different angle. I acknowledge the profound shift, of course, but I'll be arguing that online dating platforms are simply efficient tools. They enhance the opportunity for connection by solving some classic sociological barriers, things like geography or social isolation. Critically, I believe the quality and the longevity of relationship will always come down to the individuals who form it, not the digital medium that introduced them.
The app is a powerful conduit, yes, but it's not destiny.
I wish it were that simple. My core thesis, though, is that the platform design itself instills habits and expectations that are fundamentally opposed to the kind of hard work that long-term investment requires. So let's start with what some call the paradox of choice, but just amplified exponentially. Online dating serves up this overwhelming, essentially endless supply of potential partners.
When you're presented with an infinite scroll, you are psychologically conditioned to believe that someone objectively better is just one more swipe away. This overabundance, it doesn't lead to better decisions, it fosters a kind of chronic dissatisfaction. And most importantly, a massive reduction in the commitment you're willing to invest in a current partner. I mean, why weather a minor conflict or invest in repair when the app guarantees a fresh, unblemished option is always waiting? It just creates this pernicious grass is always greener mentality. Online dating, in effect, poisons commitment by making every choice feel immediately replaceable.
I see that psychological argument, I do, but it feels like you're attributing a pre-existing human failing, the inability to settle or commit, entirely to the technology. People have always been dissatisfied. They've always been looking for an upgrade in a way. What these platforms offer is, I think, undeniable efficiency and a real clarity of intention.
How so?
Well, if we look at the practical reality, online dating is an incredibly powerful filter. Users can pre-screen for absolute non-negotiables. Do you want children? Are you geographically compatible? Do you share core values? This saves an immense amount of time and emotional energy that was previously just wasted on exploratory dating with people who are fundamentally incompatible. And the medium itself signals intent. Both parties are on there actively looking to date, which is a significant improvement over the passive, accidental meetings of the past, like a random encounter at a coffee shop or being set up by a well-meaning but, frankly, ill-informed friend. That intentionality alone makes the process far more directed toward finding a committed partner.
The intentionality argument is compelling, I'll give you that. But I think it collapses the moment we analyze the actual design incentives. You frame the app as a neutral tool, like a hammer, but it's built like a slot machine. These are engineered platforms with perpetual swiping algorithms, instant gratification mechanisms. They actively reward non-commitment. They're designed for maximum user engagement, not maximum user relationship success. That instant hit of novelty you get from a new profile or a new match, that's a behavioral modification strategy. By making the process of meeting someone so easy and so frictionless, just a rapid thumb movement, it fundamentally replaces the patience and the sustained effort required to build a connection in the real world. And that effort, that is the necessary foundation for commitment. When people are reduced to profiles and checklists, which the sheer volume of data encourages, you introduce what we call commodification.
People stop being complex individuals you invest in and start being products you evaluate and discard.
I just disagree with that premise, that the structure is destiny. I mean, if you're suggesting people can't resist the temptation of novelty, you're really diminishing human agency. Yes, the platforms optimize matching, but the individual makes the critical decision to invest. The very moment a couple agrees to stop messaging and meet in the real world, to put in the time and expense of an actual date, that is the moment they transition from just consuming the product to seriously exploring a partnership. That signals commitment, and it overrides the algorithm's push for novelty. And look, we can't ignore the empirical data. We have studies that look at relationship outcomes, and research consistently shows that relationships started online are statistically just as strong and just as lasting as those started offline. There is no significant difference in marital satisfaction or long-term commitment rates. The tool gets you started, the individuals decide the outcome. You're conflating the high-volume, low-effort matching phase with the high-effort relationship-building phase.
But the matching phase, even if it's brief, it fundamentally influences the expectations you bring into the relationship phase. Let's focus on that initial selection process. It is overwhelmingly based on the superficial. Profile photos, 5 lines of text. This just reinforces the prioritization of surface-level appeal over core values or communication styles or genuine behavioral compatibility. When we meet someone organically, there's spontaneity, there's context, there are immediate behavioral cues that inform our evaluation. Online, we rely on text, which encourages users to meticulously curate an idealized identity. You have time to formulate the perfect response, to make yourself seem wittier, more stable, more available than you might actually be. This curation creates a huge expectation gap. So when the person you meet is inevitably different from their curated digital avatar, the relationship is immediately set up for disappointment.
Okay, but I think that critique of superficiality ignores how dating has always functioned. Physical attraction and initial aesthetic filtering have been primary human motivators since the beginning of time, whether you were meeting at a village market or a modern bar. That's simply a reality of attraction. What the platform does, I'd argue, is actually mitigate this superficiality through intensive pre-date vetting. Yes, the first click might be superficial, but think about the weeks of messaging that often precede a first date. Online platforms actually foster a mechanism where users feel comfortable disclosing more personal, complex information, goals, political views, relationship histories, far earlier than they would in a face-to-face setting. This is deep vetting. We're filtering based on real compatibility factors before a major time investment is even made. That early communication can lead to higher quality, more informed initial connections.
The problem isn't the disclosure, though. The problem is the interaction style that's inherent in the digital medium. This is where the structural damage truly occurs. I'm talking about the failure to develop crucial, foundational relationship skills because the app provides an instant escape route. We call this emotional shielding. Because the exit ramp, the block button, the unmatch feature, just ghosting a conversation, is always one click away. Users never learn how to navigate the inevitable discomfort of real conflict. In any long-term partnership, you must learn to sit with emotional discomfort, manage disagreement, and have difficult, awkward conversations. When the norm on the platform is instantaneous avoidance, the user never develops the resilience or the communication muscle needed to sustain a complex, long-term bond. The app teaches you that running away is the solution to friction.
That's a compelling observation, but you're assigning a permanent deficit based on a temporary interaction phase. The messaging phase is transactional. It's not the relationship itself. Conflict resolution skills are only truly developed and tested when the relationship becomes exclusive, when stakes are high, when intimacy is established. And I would argue that the structural benefit of accessibility outweighs these potential skill deficits. I mean, online dating connects individuals who might never otherwise cross paths. For someone dedicated to their career or living in a less populated area, this tool is transformative. It dramatically increases the pool of potentially compatible partners who are also looking for commitment. If a couple is serious, they quickly shed those digital crutches and are forced to engage in real-world conflict, just like any other couple. The app gets them to the starting line, it doesn't run the marathon for them.
But the mindset formed in that matching process doesn't simply disappear. The structural pressure toward constant comparison, the commodification of individuals into discardable profiles, and the reliance on instant gratification, these things fundamentally reshape expectations. The user subconsciously expects the relationship to be as frictionless as the app, and when real-world complexity hits, their learned habit is to retreat and look for the next option. We are fostering a generation of daters who value option stability over relationship investment.
And I still believe that view is overly deterministic. People actively override those impulses because they are intentionally seeking commitment. The platform is merely solving the introduction problem, which used to be the biggest obstacle in modern life. Is listing your preferences on an app truly more commodifying than, say, judging people based on their income or social standing, which were key dating filters for centuries? The platform provides information and efficiency. If people are intrinsically motivated to find a lasting partnership, the tool that maximizes their access to compatible individuals is a massive societal benefit. The quality of their relationship is ultimately determined by their own desire to commit, not the interface that brought them together.
The value in this discussion, I think, lies in dissecting the difference between a neutral tool and an engineered behavioral system. We have to remain critical of systems that emphasize endless choice and instant gratification, because those mechanisms fundamentally clash with the slow, difficult, sustained effort that truly defines lasting love. The structural pressures of the app encourage users to operate like consumers, not partners.
And we must also recognize the immense value of accessibility and efficiency these systems provide, empowering millions to find partners they otherwise would never encounter. Online dating is a powerful, intentional means of connection. It opens the door. But whether that relationship thrives or fails depends entirely on the people who choose to walk through that door together.